Welcome to the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos. Major League Baseball, the NLCS, is underway, not just yet, but it will be. I want to say tomorrow. Dodgers and Brewers are playing that. Now, I said last week that the Braves, they were no competition for the Dodgers. The Dodgers completely dominated them from start to finish. Too much hitting, too much pitching. Clayton Kershaw was Clayton Kershaw, so there's not too much else that you can expect when he's playing the way that he's supposed to play, that we know he can play. Now, the Brewers, on the other hand, I wonder to myself, how will Clayton Kershaw hold up against this Brewers lineup? They got Lorenzo Cain. They have an MVP candidate, Christian Yelich. People are calling him the MVP to be. However, Clayton Kershaw showed this past series that he can still dominate a game, whether it's the postseason or it's the regular season. So I guess that's why they're handing him the ball in Game 1. Good series that we have in front of us, baseball-wise. ALCS, Red Sox versus Astros, as Alex Bregman would call them, the show-stros, the show-oppas. Boston was my pick originally. If you watched my show last week, you'll know that I really like the Red Sox to win the World Series. However, this Astros team, they could be the team to upset Boston. They beat them last year. Boston gets a second chance, a second crack at second year in a row to face this tough Astros lineup. I really like Alex Bregman. I think he's a leader. I thought he was a baller when he played for LSU. He was picking balls from left to right. He was an athletic shortstop. I knew that when he came to the major league level, he would make an immediate impact. And he's done that at such a young age. Now, the Red Sox, they had a tough series they just got done with when they completed beating the New York Yankees. Now, I watched the end of that series last night, the American League Divisional Series. And I thought to myself watching this is the way that a series is supposed to end between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. Now, I wondered as I watched that game and I saw the Yankees come within a mere couple pitches, they almost found a way to defeat Craig Kimbrell at the Bell and take it to a fifth game, but they couldn't do it. Craig Kimbrell, he looked really shaky. Yeah, he may be the best pitcher, closer, person who gets saves for that Red Sox lineup, for that Red Sox bullpen. However, he really struggled down the stretch, and I was worried about you, Craig Kimbrell. I was worried about you. If you guys haven't seen Craig Kimbrell, this is how he pitches right here. I saw that hand do a little shake. Craig Kimbrell, however, came through, got it done, and was able to get the Red Sox to advance to the next series. Now, Aaron Judge, he got on base, got walked, and then you had Hechavarria, how do you say the last name, the young kid, he got on base, and then Didi Gregorius, he was able to get on base. Neil Walker got on base. The Yankees were in prime position to potentially win that game last night. But what happened? Who was the straw that broke the camel's back? Yes, I know Giancarlo Stanton. I know he was not the person who got struck out, who lost the game. However, there were men on. He was the tying run. All he had to do was put the ball in play, give your team a chance. All that money New York Yankees have paid you, give your team a chance to compete and win the ALDS, and win that game, that fourth game, and take it back to Boston for a fifth game. However, what did we see? We saw the consistent performance of a guy who hacks at balls until he strikes out. That's exactly what Giancarlo Stanton did last night. And that's why the Yankees lost. In my personal opinion, I feel like that was a crucial at-bat that he had to take advantage of, and he couldn't do it. So to me, I don't care about a guy never making it to the postseason and him not getting a chance to compete on that stage. Giancarlo Stanton, they paid you good bread. Now I wonder to myself, where will he be able to eat in New York? Because people are going to say stuff. And when he struck out last night, they gave him a boo. And rightfully so, he did deserve that. Now, NFL-wise, we'll flip over to football, right? You guys have heard about Antonio Brown, the Pittsburgh Steeler that doesn't mind stealing passes out of the air. However, he has had some trouble himself the past couple days. We talked about, as the world turns, the drama that's been going on in Pittsburgh. Antonio Brown faces 2 civil lawsuits that stem from back in April 2018 where he was not charged. There was a domestic dispute as far as him with the apartment security, not with a woman. He was upset, throwing things, defacing property, damaging things. I won't really call it domestic dispute. That's the wrong term to use. Let's say it was a vandalistic approach that he took to that apartment building, which he soon after vacated after the incident. Allegedly, he threw furniture off of the balcony. 2 vases, he threw off the ottoman, and they landed within feet of a toddler, a 2-year-old, 22-month-year-old young boy, and then also his grandfather. Now, the man that's suing is the father, and he's suing for emotional distress and says that his son cried all night and didn't get any sleep that night. And I'm not making light of the situation. I feel like Antonio Brown, if you did this, sir, that's ridiculous. You could have really hurt a kid. However, I look at the daddy who wasn't even there. To me, it sounds like grandpa got back to the house and said, hey, did you see Antonio Brown? He's throwing stuff off the balcony. He's really upset. Yeah, some stuff, it dropped close to us, but it didn't hit us. We're okay. Oh, no, he's going to pay for this. He's going to pay for this, Dad. That's what this sounds like to me. That's what, and you know, I understand the justification behind the fact that Antonio Brown can't be reckless like that. But I look at the police reports and things like that, and they say that no charges were even filed. So for me, it sounds like a big money grab. Now, if I'm Antonio Brown, you know you got it. Just pay this man some bread and tell him to go about his way. But sir, you are clearly exploiting your kid. If anything, you should have just simply said, hey, you know what? This happened, Antonio Brown. Hey, you really upset my kid. I don't appreciate it. That's your neighbor, right? Go talk to your neighbor. And I bet Antonio Brown would have taken care of you. Now, if building security stole $80,000 and a gun from Antonio Brown, I would be hot too. But if I'm Antonio Brown, I'm not throwing furniture off the balcony. I've got way too much to lose. What if you do kill somebody? Then we're talking about a 30 for 30 about it. The guy that was almost the greatest, who went to jail for life for murdering a 22-month-old kid throwing furniture off the balcony. So learn from your mistakes. Keep you cool. Keep you cool. Now, the Eagles, on the other hand, they play tomorrow night. They got a game against the Giants. They got a game against Odell, who's awoken his team and got them to understand that he means business. They paid me my money. I'm trying to be a leader. We got a ball, and they almost were able to get the win last week, but Graham Gano hits a 63-yard field goal, so that was cut. Now, however, this Giants team, they look really good. Eli Manning, he's responded well to the Odell criticism. Saquon Barkley, he's feeling it. He don't care. He's a rookie. I'm just balling. Jay Ajayi for the Eagles, though, tore his ACL. They're fresh off of a loss to the Vikings, the Philadelphia Eagles are, and they're 2-3 on the season. Now, for them to have to play a short game, like a short week, and play against a team who's hungry, like the New York Giants, who's 1-4, who can't afford to just stink it up and lose another game, and they're playing in New York, they really need to figure out something that they want to do with their roster. They talked about LaShawn McCoy. There's rumors out there that LaShawn McCoy could be the answer. He played in Philadelphia for the first 5 years of his career. He's a hometown guy. He's from Pennsylvania, played at the University of Pittsburgh. So to me, that seemed like the obvious choice. However, Sean McDermott kind of shut that down and came out and said, listen, people call all the time, but LaShawn McCoy had a great game last week. He's a Buffalo Bill right now. And if I'm Sean McDermott and I'm a head coach, why would I want to break that up when I know, in fact, I've got a young quarterback, Josh Allen, that showed promise, who everybody thought was a bum early on, but he's shown that he can actually ball a little bit. And that same Vikings team that beat the Philadelphia Eagles last week, they went on the road, the Buffalo Bills, and busted them in Minneapolis. So if I am Sean McDermott, I feel the same way. Don't talk about my player because he's still on the roster, and I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to give him up just that easy. So staying in the football realm of the world, let's go ahead and move over transition and talk about a little bit of college football. Now, what's going on? Everybody talks about the playoffs. As far as pretenders getting knocked off of the college football landscape, Utah smashed Stanford. Maybe that was because they had no Bryce Love. I don't know, but they got busted at the crib, 40-21, I want to say. Auburn, they now got 2 losses, one on the road to Mississippi State, then the other they got at the crib to LSU, who just lost to Florida. I really think that could have been all she wrote for Auburn, the Auburn Tigers. So cheer this weekend all you want, but yeah, you guys are probably out of the playoff hunt unless you somehow find a way to beat Alabama and beat a couple other teams, and Alabama loses twice, and you go to the SEC championship and win, because we all know the SEC championship is the de facto playoff game, so that's the only way Auburn can get in. And Alabama ain't losing twice. Trust me, they not losing twice. And then Kentucky, they're not a pretender, but they did lose to Texas A&M in a close, hard-fought game, which I feel like they should have kept feeding the ball to Benny Snell. They stopped doing that. They put the ball in Terry Wilson's hands, and he got really nervous and sporadic in overtime and ended up taking a sack, and then the kicker misses a field goal, and then Travion Williams takes it in for a touchdown. So Kentucky, they may be out of it unless they beat Georgia November 2nd and find a way to make it to Atlanta. The Cats are out of it. But the team college football aficionados want to see good again, which, I mean, okay, we love the history. Cheer for Notre Dame. Yes, we know the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. People want to see them back on top. You know, that team that they had in 2012 that had to vacate all those wins, who was really not that good, who they looked like they might have been good, but everybody knew they weren't that good. And we watched Eddie Lacy and the boys run them over and destroy them on national television in the national championship game. That same Notre Dame program this year, I think they're a slightly different team. The defense is tougher. The receivers, they have weapons at receiver. The cornerbacks, back to the cornerbacks they're A1. That Love kid, he was playing home in Virginia, really balled out, showed that he's a long-rangey guy who can really find the football on defense. And then Ian Book has clearly increased offensive efficiency. You know, I read a story about Notre Dame today, and, you know, for me, watching Notre Dame growing up, even when I played the game NCAA made by EA Sports, right? I didn't even like playing games in their stadium on the video game because it's just all you like Notre Dame. To me, they have to catch up with the times, and that's what that article was about that I read. You should really check it out on your ESPN app. But Notre Dame, now they're playing hip hop in the stadium. They got people jumping up and down, getting crunk, turned, lit. You know, Notre Dame, for me, if they really want to compete and stay in the forefront of the national eye, the national media, then you have to get the athletes in there. And the way to get them in there is make it fun, make it entertaining. This is the age of social media. This is no longer the traditional Notre Dame. It can be the traditional Notre Dame with a little bit of a Ric Flair. Woo! Ian Book brings that flair. He's a redshirt senior, waited his turn. He's from Cali. He's the unsung hero. He's the guy who had to step in when Brandon Wimbush was 3-0, but really wasn't doing anything against a mediocre competition. Ian Book gives this team an edge, and he is the guy that if the Irish do make it to the college football playoff, and they do make it to the national championship, because I think now they've got like a 64% chance or 62% chance of making it because they don't have any more ranked teams on their schedule and they've done enough. Ian Book already said, listen, we're trying to score as many points as we can, okay? That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're going to do. We just want to see where it ends up at the end of the game. So Brian Kelly knows now, being an independent, not playing any more ranked teams, they have to bust everyone. And I think Notre Dame can do it, but I really think it's interesting how they've really tried to take an innovative approach as it pertains to entertainment at their games and keeping their players engaged as far as the pop culture goes. You have to do that. The times change, things change. You got to roll with the punches, roll with the flow. And I think Notre Dame can do it, okay? NBA-wise, story of the day for me, Jimmy Butler is not happy in Minnesota, clearly. Now, the Minnesota Timberwolves all-star allegedly was yelling at practice and was very vocal towards all of his teammates and GM Scott Layden. He essentially came out and said, you effing need me. You can't win without me. And I understand the way he feels because he did not get paid, and Carl Anthony Towns got paid and he didn't. Come on now. Jimmy Butler has shown at Chicago, and Tim Thibodeau should have spoken on his behalf because he's coached Jimmy Butler. He knows what Jimmy Butler's about. And I feel like he should have been a stronger advocate for him to get that money before Carl Anthony Towns. I know he's a 7-footer and he's skilled, but Jimmy Butler has shown that defensively, he's a force. He's just like Anthony Davis, except a little bit shorter. He plays tough defense, and he's a weapon offensively. Carl Anthony Towns, for me, sometimes a little bit more, he's a little bit softer on defense for me. And then he likes to take the outside jump shot, which Carl Anthony Towns, I know you can hit that, but they need you in the paint. They've got Andrew Wiggins who needs to play on the wing. And they've got Jimmy Butler who can play on the perimeter. They don't need you out there all the time. If you got like Joel Embiid, I guarantee you, Carl Anthony Towns, they'd say you're one of the best big men in the game. But right now, you've fallen in love with being a perimeter player. And in this league, on that team, I don't think that's effective. I just don't, because you can offer so much more to the offense. But Jimmy Butler, he essentially dominated practice today, cussed everybody out, and came out after talking to Rachel Nichols, talking about, hey, I said what I had to say, and I was being honest. And in the day of social media, it's refreshing to see that a basketball star like Jimmy Butler, a person of his caliber, can be honest about the fact that I ain't happy. And they need to know that I know I'm the best out here, and I'm the reason everybody eats, B. So Jimmy Butler, shout out to you for being real with the GM and the organization. Now, I'd love to see how your teammates respond as far as the regular season goes. I heard that the spirits were high. Some veteran players really liked the energy that he showed. But Jimmy B, how's this going to translate to the regular season? That's what I'm waiting to see. Now, he may get traded to the Miami Heat. We don't know. But as far as this goes, I can't blame a guy for letting everybody know that he's the best and he earned it, but didn't necessarily reap the benefits of earning it. So, that being said, thank you for watching the Zono Sports Show. I always give you the juice. And next time we'll wrap, which will be next week, where you know what? Who knows what? Thank you for watching the Zono Sports Show, like I said, where you know Zo knows.